Welcome to another notes video. Thank you so much for all the positive and negative feedback on the series. I've taken a lot of what you mentioned on board and hopefully you enjoyed them. In this clip, I explain how to gather and utilize information to be several steps ahead of the enemy. I've got my flash in hand, ready to flash A lobby, which will give me the info if anyone is there. I noticed that the Phoenix died on mid and the Sage is in C long, which meant they were clearly defaulted. As soon as the Sage dies, no one peeks off her, which meant they had to be towards A, and I decided to wolf to get more info. As I'm wolfing, I come across Sova's drone, which gave the enemy team information that I was using the wolf form, which is why I didn't utilize the full duration of the wolf. I hear another enemy close on site, which is why I postured so I can pop flash. I'm still very apprehensive of the Sova's position. I go for a flash on long to let me know if he's there, and it turns out it wasn't, but later died on C long. In this clip I suggested we fake A with the Cypher lurking towards C, but my teammates end up dying, so I take the bomb towards C where the Cypher managed to push up. I told my team to fake go in A so we can pull rotations and allow for our lurking Cypher to gain intel and push up so we can safely go back to C. Sadly, my teammates fall by pushing up too far and I decide to go C as fast as I can. I wall up garage as my Cypher was holding backside, but he falls, leaving me in a 1 versus 3. I see the Viper is in CT and I hear 2 enemies breaking my wall in garage, so I try to force the fight with Viper. I immediately swing. The Jet tries to catch me off by wide swinging, but I'm fully prepared for what she's going to do and catch her out. In the following clip, I explain how I managed to counter a Viper and Skilljoy playing lineups. I break the Sage wall and prepare for anyone in common angles. I look at the bomb and notice the Killjoy and Viper smoke, and instead of trying to defuse the bomb, I look to take the fight to them. My teammates were on the same page and we attacked them methodically, clearing angles and trading off each other. In this clip, I explain what to do when you're in a 1 versus 3 by isolating fights and looking for 1v1s whilst utilizing Sage's wall to serve multiple purposes. I wrap through spawn to plant on B. Once I planted, I look to take an early fight by walling off screens and at the same time using it to catch plays in heaven. I whiffed the first few shots on Omen and immediately bait away. Pull back and assume that he's going to push aggressively, so I prepare by holding rafters. I catch the Omen and still hold the angle, waiting for the trade to come and punish the sky. The Sage breaks my wall, and remember how I walled off screens earlier, so it blocks off both screens and it blocks off elbow, which is why the Sage went to the other direction. Instead of swinging out, I decided to take small incremental steps, which allowed me to react fast enough to kill her. In this clip, I tried to explain my poor judgment in a 2 versus 3, which ultimately resulted in me failing the clutch. As I'm planting the bomb, I'm looking for Sova darts so I don't end up being chunked.
Fuck this game! 140.
I decide to sit inside the smoke and peek out when I hear enemies get close. I get tagged by Sova's dart and prepare for enemies in off angles. However, the Sage wall perfectly covers the bomb and I get traded out. Looking back, the better play would have been to play alongside the Sage and not hide in the smoke, baiting her out. I showcase how stutter stepping is essential. Even though my crosshair placement was not good, it allowed me to push up incrementally, not exposing myself to multiple angles. As I'm planting the bomb, I'm looking at the mini map. I hold the right side of the box, hoping the Sage falls into my crosshair. Even though my crosshair placement isn't good, I wanted to push up, but at the same time not exposing myself to multiple angles, which is why I decided to take small incremental steps. The higher up you go, the more you come across players who won't peek you for free. I demonstrate how I use a simple fake jump to bait the Reyna into peeking me. My teammate dies right outside elbow with nest smoked off. I notice that there's a small gap in the smoke and I use it to spot any enemies looking to go past. I see the Reyna and Sova walk past and I wait for the smoke to fade away. I knew the Reyna was in elbow, so I decided to fake jump, baiting the Reyna into peeking me, and she falls right into my trap. I showcase how to play with your teammate by just simply communicating your plays. I hear multiple enemies mid, so I decide to TP to events so we can both peek from 2 angles. Raze's position indicated that her teammates went towards A, which is why I decided to slow push A. I hear the bomb being planted on A, but my teammate tells me that there are guns mid and I decide to go back. As I'm going back, the Viper for some reason was lurking, and instead of using the Spectre, I decided to use the Deagle so I can quickly get that shot off. By this point, the enemies knew our positions and would have positioned aggressively, which is why my teammate cautioned me. As soon as I killed the killjoy, I also expected Sage to be close, which is why I decided to ult towards elbow. I managed to confuse the Sage with my ult, but instead of hitting the shot, I completely whiff and I get killed. I showcase how to utilize the enemy utility to your advantage, as well as basic traps like a fake plant so you can bait the enemies into pushing you. I go for a pop flash backside and nothing hits. The Jet throws a smoke and I use it to reposition and see if I can catch her off guard. At this point, I have zero information on the last 2 remaining enemies, so I go for a fake plant to bait the enemies into pushing me, and the Omen falls into my trap. I'm not sure where the killjoy is, but I decide to ult and plant right after, but I didn't expect her to peek me long. Looking back at this, the better play would have been to wait right after ulting so I get a general idea of the killjoy's positioning instead of just planting. I showcase how a lapse in my judgment and not thinking steps ahead of the enemy almost cost us the round. I hear that Phoenix is ulting, but I'm not sure where he's ulting to, so I flash into garage to see if he's there. I let my teammates know Phoenix is ulting garage and to hold his anger with me. I knew the spike was last seen towards A, but for some reason I didn't anticipate that enemies could be in A link or CT, which was a huge mistake from my part, as I could have easily died there and potentially lost the round. I made another mistake of pulling my knife out when I had zero information on the Omen's position, which almost caught me out.